Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today we are going to be starting our transformations unit, and today specifically we are going to be talking about reflections. So a very popular reflection and a very popular example of reflection would be the reflecting pool for the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. So our objective for today is that we will be able to reflect geometric shapes over the x and y axis. So reflection, just to define it, a reflection is a flip over the x or y axis. And also, later on in your math careers, you will be talking about other lines of symmetry or lines of reflection that you can use besides just the x or y. But in this course, we are only going to be talking about flipping over the x or y axis. So in this example right here, we have fish and Skittles. All right, so this fish right here is being flipped or reflected over this dotted line. And this dotted line is the line of reflection. Okay, so you can kind of see it when it flips over that dotted line, it kind of goes backwards. And same thing with the Skittles. You can read the Skittles this way, but when you flip it over, or when you look in a mirror and see the reflection, it looks backwards. When you reflect something over the x-axis that has coordinates, so we will be flipping like squares or triangles, they are going to have coordinate pairs or ordered pairs. So when we use ordered pairs, we are going to keep the x the same but have the opposite y. So if the x-axis is the line of the reflection, keep the x-coordinate, use the opposite of the y. So here's your example. X comma y turns into x comma negative y, and x comma negative y turns into x comma y. It would be the exact opposite for reflecting over the y-axis. You're going to have the same y but the opposite x. So if the y-axis is the line of reflection, you're going to keep the same y-coordinate and use the opposite of the x-coordinate. So x comma y turns into negative x comma positive y, and negative x comma negative y turns into x comma negative y. So now let's take a look and practice what it looks like to reflect a triangle over the x and y axis. So we are going to use a table to help us organize our thoughts, and it's going to help us really see what it means to reflect a figure over the x and y axis. So first we're going to focus on reflecting over the x axis. So we have a triangle here that has points x, y, and z. And point x is at point negative 7, 3. Well, remember when we reflect over the x-axis, we're going to keep that x value the same, so it's going to stay negative 7, but we're going to do the opposite y value. So that 3 is going to turn into a negative 3. All right, so now we're going to plot the point. So we have negative 7, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And that would be x1 or x prime. We're going to do the same thing with the y. The x value in the ordered pair stays the same, but the y would be the opposite. So this one we have negative 4, negative 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And that would be y prime. And then last but not least, we have z. The x value stays the same, so negative 1, comma, negative 3, with the y value being opposite. So we have negative 1, comma, 3. Now connect our points, z prime. So as you can see, we just reflected that triangle over the x-axis. Now let's reflect the triangle over the y. So this one is opposite of what we just did. So we are going to use the original point, because this time we're just going to reflect the same original triangle over both the x and y. Alright, so we're going to use the original point, but this time, instead of changing the y value, we're going to change the x value. So the opposite of negative 7 is positive 7, and y stays the same, so positive 7, 3. For negative 4, 6, it's going to turn into 4, 6. And for negative 1, 3, it's going to turn into positive 1, 3. Okay, so now we plot the points. So 7, 3, that would be x. with 2 slashes. We have 4, 6, and we have 1, 3. And you can check yourself because you can see that it is reflecting over that y value. Right, so that's how you reflect a triangle over the x and y axis. So I would like you to take a few minutes and you try it on your own. Reflect this triangle over both the x and the y axis. And if you have any questions, as always, please write down your questions and I will get back to them as soon as we get back to class. So thank you so much for taking good, diligent notes and being great listeners, and I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.